What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And as you know, here on the Scrubae channel, we love to look at news of crazy stuff that's going on. And it tends to be that Florida has a concentration of crazy news. I don't know if it's something in the water down there making the people act crazy, but what I can certainly tell you is that in certain places in Florida, apparently pharmaceuticals have made their way into the water, making the fish high all the time. My goodness gracious, guys, these fish have no choice but to be swimming through some pharmaceuticals. I've seen enough Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to know that if you dump enough bad stuff in the waterways, eventually Master Splinter is gonna raise a clan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Only difference is if it happens in Florida, it'll be a gang of angry alligators, and we don't want that. Study reveals fish in Florida waters contaminated with pharmaceutical drugs. Maybe this is why all the Florida people are going crazy, dude. They have the fresh caught tuna at dinner. All of a sudden, they're like laced with Oxycontins and decide to just start going crazy. Who would have thought that we would ever get to the point where our fish are being contaminated with our drugs, man? Someone's not doing something right along the lines. I've seen the Simpsons movie. I knows how this ends. Seriously, dude, these fish have got to be so confused. They're just trugging along. The trout's trying to get upstream. I know there's no trout in Florida. The trout's trying to get upstream. All of a sudden, they're swimming upstream. Whoa, dude. You ever thought about, like, life, you know? Seriously, I'm assuming that if it's contaminating the fish, that if the fish get caught by people and people eat the fish, that it would eventually start contaminating humans too. And I'm not a medical expert, but I'm going to assume trace amounts of every single pharmaceutical in one body is not very good for the body. You don't understand. I take a pill every 15 minutes. Oh, did your doctor tell you to do that? No, I just like experimenting. A recently published 3-year study out of Florida International University discovered pharmaceuticals present in the blood and tissue of bonefish living off the South Florida coast. Researchers at the university's Bonefish and Tarpon Trust, the BTT, said in February that not only did each of the 93 fish sampled contain drugs, but the average fish had 7 pharmaceuticals each, with at least one containing 17 different substances. Well, we all know which fish likes to party the most. My goodness, Nemo went to college and started going crazy. 17 different types of pharmaceuticals. It should be pretty easy to trace this back to whatever company is causing this, right? Like, I'm just going to assume that they can test the drugs and be like, oh, this guy makes this one. Seriously, though, these fish are, gotta be acting different. It can't be good to be eating these fish. I'm sorry, people act different when you give them one pharmaceutical. You put 17 in one fish, that thing's probably gonna be like swimming upside down into walls thinking it's invincible. Some tiny little clownfish is like, you know what, I think I can take a great white shark. They're all methed up. Do you think it took 3 years? Because at first they were like, alright, there's no way there's gonna be pharmaceuticals in the fish. We'll just go test a couple of them and it'll be chill. It came back positive. They were like, oh, that's weird. Accidentally open up a huge box of worms, start finding fish with 17 different pharmaceuticals in it. So that's why every time I eat the salmon, I feel weird. I don't know, man. Sushi in Florida is probably hitting pretty different. What is this type of fish? Oh, yeah. That is a trout that we dosed up with 90 pounds of black tar heroin. I know black tar heroin's not a pharmaceutical, okay? It's called a joke. You're watching Subnautica gameplay while I rant about high fish. Let's not get too into the science. Lead researcher Jennifer Rehage, an associate professor at the university's Institute of Environment, said the pharmaceuticals are entering coastal fisheries through wastewater infrastructure. Pharmaceuticals are an invisible threat, unlike algae blooms or turbid waters, yet the results tell us they're a formidable threat to our fisheries and highlight the pressing need to address our long-standing wastewater infrastructure issues. It's pretty cartoon villainy to just start dumping your, like, pharmaceutical waste into the ocean by fisheries. It's just pretty cartoon villainy to be doing it, period. Like, don't dump your wastewater in an unsafe place at all. But especially if it's near fisheries. Haha, if we're going to contaminate the water with pharmaceuticals, we should do it as close to the fisheries as humanly possible. We're running an experiment to see what would happen if we secretly dosed up every fish in our aquarium with pharmaceutical drugs. It's a threat that you can't see. I feel like our infrastructure is just kind of falling apart, you know, like I'm not an infrastructure expert, I'm not a genius, but I feel like we're talking about lead and water pipes, wastewater infrastructure breakdowns, bridges are falling apart. I don't know, man, it just feels like there's a whole lot of things that are kind of broken right now, but I'm gonna assume that this should be taking some priority. I mean, all of it should. We need to just fix all these issues. We got a whole lot going on. You need to fix the lead pipes, you gotta fix the bridges, and we need to make sure that our fish aren't dosed up with pharmaceutical drugs. What if it's the farmers? This is obviously a joke. I don't know how a fishery works. I don't know if there's a guy in charge of it, but what if the fishermen are like, yeah, those dang pharmaceutical companies keep dumping pharmaceutical drugs in the water and it makes the fish way easier to catch. Those guys suck. Yeah, look into them. They're the ones doing it. Meanwhile, in the back, there's like the skipper of the boat just dumping pharmaceutical pills off the back of the boat. He's like, ooh, you've heard of chum to catch sharks. Just wait till you hear antidepressants to catch tuna, baby. This thing's the greatest bait I've ever had. Examples of drugs found in the fish include blood pressure medications, antidepressants, prostate treatments, antibiotics, and pain relievers. Researchers said it was noted that many of the drugs were also found in common bonefish prey, taken as indicative that the fishery where the bonefish were tested is not the only region affected by similar human-based drug contamination. According to Nick Castillo, a PhD student who participated in the study, the drugs could also be changing the behavior of the contaminated fish, making them easier prey and cutting their chances in the gene pool. Well, yeah, of course the fish are gonna start acting different. They're dosed up on 17 different pharmaceuticals. Like I said, their like predator comes around, you know, some barracuda, some bigger fish with sharp teeth. Ooh, I'm gonna go talk to him. I bet you he's reasonable. And they're like, you're definitely doped up right now. Don't go do that. I'll be right back, guys. Next thing you know, he gets eaten. That's actually how Nemo's mom passed away. Yeah, a lot of people think the barracuda attacked because it was hungry. No. Nemo's mom was contaminated with an experimental military drug that was supposed to make soldiers a super soldier. She thought she could take a barracuda, but we all know how that ended up. Listen, I see a few of these as blood pressure medication. Are we sure that some of these fish aren't elderly? Heart health matters. They got to keep that ticker rolling even if they're fish. Maybe they got together and said, look, my cholesterol's getting a little bit high. I got to keep the blood pressure down. You know, the prostate exam thing. Everyone should get their prostate checked at a certain age. You don't want to end up getting prostate cancer. It's very preventable. I'm not going to knock the fish for trying to take care of themselves. I heard the fish hospital is very forward when it comes to medical practices. But the fish that are taking these recreationally, that's the problem. If the fish are taking the pill for medical reasons, I'm cool with it. Dude, someone in the comments right now is like, Ryan, fish don't take pills, actually. You don't say. You're telling me that there's not a fish hospital at the bottom of the ocean? It could be making a fish more bold, so they'll take risks and they could get eaten by predators more frequently, and it can affect their reproduction. Jim McDuffie, the BTT president and CEO, said the study underscored an urgent need for Florida to improve its wastewater treatment facilities statewide. Pharmaceuticals are an often overlooked dimension of water quality, and their presence in South Florida bonefish is a cause for concern because these contaminants pose a significant threat to the Flats fishery, an important part of Florida's recreational saltwater fishery, which has an annual economic impact of $9.2 billion and directly supports 88,500 jobs. I think Florida should do something even if there was no jobs on the line. I just don't think it's very good to be pumping opiates into the ocean. There's going to be negative consequences for that. But I do think a lot of politicians are only moved when like dollars are on the line. So it is really smart of this study to point out that if their reproduction levels drop due to this contamination, that the entire fishing industry is going to be impacted. I mean, it just makes sense. Less fish to catch. The fish are dumber, so they're not reproducing as much. They're getting eaten more. The entire food chain's being infected by pharmaceuticals. Who knows what that does to the people that eat the fish that are contaminated? The entire system's bad, and I think slapping a dollar sign on it might make politicians act a little sooner, and that sucks. I'm not saying that's the way it should be, but let's be honest. There's a lot of things going on that we should be fixing, but because there's no like direct jobs affected, we're just not worried about it. So pointing out that this could have a very, very negative impact on the Florida economy is a good way to get the government to look at it. That being said, be careful if you're out there swimming in Florida. Not only do you have to worry about all the crazy Florida people, but apparently your fish are on drugs too. It's a matter of time until an alligator gets an oxy, ladies and gentlemen, and that's when we're really in trouble. An alligator gets some PCP, it becomes impervious and like goes full zombie mode. No, thank you. I'm not trying to live in a real life Sharknado moment. Anyways, guys, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I'd really appreciate y'all taking a second to press the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. And of course, subscribe if you're new and turn on those notifications. I'll see y'all later today with another one. But on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'm out. Peace.